Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. This is the first session by Build AI Kenya. We're a group that kind of wants to talk about AI in Kenya and the possibilities of what is possible with building applications in AI and how you can leverage it to improve efficiency and increase productivity with AI tools. This first session is going to be around getting started with Copilot Agents. We primarily will be focusing on the Microsoft offering, and that's what we shall cover over this presentation. I'll try to make sure we have quite a bit of time left to do a hands-on demo, and you can see the actual power of using it in a real life scenario. So what is Copilot? Copilot is the UI for AI. Microsoft have developed Copilot as the interface, the main interface for interfacing with AI, and they have provided the ability to create agents. And Microsoft's purpose is to try to provide everyone with the ability to create copilots and transform every business process with agents. The AI adoption curve consists of broadly 3 steps. The first is trying to decide how to access AI. So accessing AI, what platforms to access AI with, and trying to navigate AI and within companies' budgets. And that leads into getting your return on investment. So how are you leveraging artificial intelligence in your business, and how to deploy it and measure it so that you're getting that return on investment. And the last aspect of it is governance. So to make sure that AI is deployed in a secure and compliant way within the organization, so that you're not having data leaking out and people not getting responses that may be out of tone with the organizational policies. We shall talk a bit about 365 Copilot Chat, which recently Microsoft introduced a free tier. So Copilot Chat has got 3 main components. It's got the chat component, which is the traditional web chat component, where you have a chat interface, and in the background it's powered by GPT-4 and it's grounded in the web. And agents are integrated into the chat experience, and they're grounded on your work data. And the free tier lets you only pay. 365 Copilot has got 3 main components: the chat interface, agents. Agents give you the ability to create automated tasks, which could be interfacing with the chat interface, or they could be completely automated and run in the background. And you could have a consumption tier where you only pay for consumption. IT controls help enterprise admins to be able to manage agents and the chat interface, and be able to provide granular control to any of the end users. So Copilot Chat consists of the 3 applications that we have talked about. But in addition, there is the Copilot control system, which gives you the ability to be able to extend Copilot, to be able to add additional functionality, and Copilot Analytics, which gives you insights into how Copilot is being used within the organization. A typical Copilot deployment would initially start off with kind of your champions within the different organizations. So you might get some people, let's say from the marketing department or from sales, who are kind of leading in trying to create automations for processes that are done often. It might be scanning documents, it might be reading through different documents. And initially, once those initial champions have kind of onboarded the applications and are using them, then you can start scaling it out within the organization, where other users start to adopt Copilot. And eventually you get to a process where most of the organization is using Copilot. You might have people who are out on the road or more operational type people, let's say on the factory floor, who might not need to use Copilot, but your end goal is to get as many people using Copilot to be able to leverage the benefits and efficiencies. The Copilot app has got a chat interface, and you have the ability to add or interface with any of the agents. I won't spend too much time on this because we shall be doing a hands-on very soon. In terms of the tiers, Microsoft have introduced a free tier, which provides a lot of free components, and you only pay as you use for your consumption. And there's the additional tier, which they had introduced about a year ago, which is the $30 per user per month. And that includes all the Copilot, including Copilot within the Office applications. So you have Copilot in Word, in PowerPoint, in the whole Office suite. There are three main UI experiences for Copilot. As we've talked about, we have the main Copilot chat, which we shall be looking at shortly. The same interface or very similar experience, you can get that on chat. They've made a few modifications, which is primarily integration with agents. You can download a Windows application. They currently don't have one for Mac, but on Mac, you could either use the web or the inbuilt chat. And finally, there is chat on mobile for both platforms, for both Android and iOS. So what I thought at this point would be good is to run through a demo where we actually build an agent from scratch. And what we're going to be building is a customer service agent. In essence, the agent is going to be automatically responding to customer queries based off the company's policies. It's going to be fully automated. It won't require any human intervention. When the email comes in, the email is processed. The application or the agent is going to take a look at the company policies, and it's going to respond to the user appropriately. So let's go ahead and let me just open this up on Copilot Studio, and I should be able to share that. So this is the home screen for Copilot Studio. If you navigate to copilotstudio.microsoft.com, if you don't have an account, it will prompt you to sign up, and you should be able to get a free account that you can sign up and be able to test making agents. In this particular case, we shall go ahead and create an agent, and we shall be creating it from scratch. I'll go ahead and click on new agent, and this is going to be the customer service agent. In the name field, you can give it any name, and I won't fill out the description and the instructions here, so that I can show you where else you can fill them out on the portal. So once I give it a name, I'll go ahead and create the agent, which will primarily just be a shell of an agent, because at the moment it doesn't have any functionality, any description, or any particular information to go on. In terms of the interface, they've tried to lay out the interface in a relatively simple way. You have your detailed section, you have your knowledge, actions, triggers, topics, and published agents. So we shall go through this one by one as we build our agent. Additionally, you can get to some of this through these tabs here. So for example, this knowledge section, you can either add knowledge here or you can add knowledge up here. As I've mentioned before, I'll show you where you can add the description and the instructions, which should be right here. So right now, the only thing our agent has is a name, and we can go ahead and edit so that we can go ahead and add a description. The description is what the role of the agent is meant to be. So I'll go ahead and copy a description I had prepared earlier. And the description says you're an agent that assists with requests from customers to return items purchased at our store or our website. You're part of our customer service team and you have a friendly and helpful tone. You'll analyze the company returns policy to provide accurate advice to a customer on whether they can return the item as required. You want to help customers return items wherever possible, also while protecting the financial position of the company by not allowing returns outside the policy. So in essence, that's the core function of the description and of the agent. And every time you're creating an agent, you want to try to include as much information in your description. In terms of the instructions, I also have a set of instructions that I can copy in, just to save you from watching me typing. But in essence, I'm giving the agent instructions on what it's supposed to do. So in this particular case, I have bulleted 6 main items. I wanted to pass the body of the email and identify the method of payment. I wanted to search the internal knowledge base for information based on payment methods. To use the action send an email, which we haven't created, but we're going to create that action called send to email, which will write a response to the customer on advising them whether they can return the item or not. It should include a friendly message and a greeting, and if it should also suggest that they can call the customer service department on that number. It should sign out as the customer service agent and do not include any citations in the email. And when creating an email, always format it in HTML. Now that that is done, I can go ahead and save, and that creates the main body of the agent. And to be able to respond using AI, this is what this orchestration piece is. If you don't have the orchestration piece, then it's not going to use AI in its response, which is the whole point of creating the agent. So we want to make sure that that is enabled and the changes are saved. Once we have that, then the next thing we want to add is our knowledge. And the knowledge is going to be our service, our customer service document, which has got the policies from the company. And we have a customer service document that we can upload. So we can go ahead and add knowledge. And let me pull up the file. So I have a refund policy template. In the name, you can go ahead and change the name so that it's something more meaningful if you look at it, if the file is not named appropriately. So we can call this the customer service policy. And in the description, it says this knowledge source searches information contained in, now that we've changed the name, let's say in the customer service policy document. Sorry, that's a policy. So we can go ahead and add that. And this is going to upload the file into its knowledge base. And every time an email comes in, then it's going to reference the knowledge before it responds to the user. One of the things that they've done on this right-hand side, you have the ability to test your agent, and it's a good thing to be able to test the agent as you go along. So if we go ahead and take a look at one of the policies in this document is you can only return items in 14 days. So if we go ahead and refresh that and ask the agent, I bought an item 30 days ago. Can I return it? If we go ahead and post that question, it switches the screens and shows you the steps that the agent takes to be able to answer that question. Right now, it's going into the knowledge, and as you can see, it outputs no results found. And it's giving a generic answer saying the 30-day policy, saying that returns can be done within 30 days. So this is something that you need to look out for. In this particular instance, it's just using its generic information as opposed to the information in the knowledge base. So to understand why it's doing this, if you go back to your knowledge and you take a look at the state of the document, it's currently still in progress, which means that the document has still not been uploaded. And there's some processing that happens to the document in the background for it to be uploaded. It breaks down the document into smaller pieces, and eventually, once it has broken down the document, then it uploads it in a way that you can query against. So that's something to keep an eye on. You may think that you have uploaded your document and users can start using it, but you have to ensure that that has completed before you go ahead and publish. So let's move on while that continues to update, and we'll come back to the test to be able to ask the same question and see what answer it returns. If we go back to our overview, the next thing we want to provide is an action. An action is providing the agent with an ability to perform a particular task. So if we go ahead and click on actions, we can take a look at some of the sample actions, like deleting a row. So it can delete a row from an Excel document. It can get a row from an Excel document. In our particular case, we want to give it the ability to be able to send an email. So we can go ahead and we can search the library to send an email from 365, which is what we're going to be doing. By default, it's going to use the signed in user credentials, which in this case is fine. But if, let's say, you wanted to set it to use a customer service mailbox, that would be fine. So I'm signed on with a test user, bob@wingumoja.co.k, and that's the mailbox that it's going to be using to send out emails. You can go ahead and click next. Let's change the name to just send an email, and the description to send an email, and I'm going to use Copilot authentication, and I can go ahead and add that particular action. Once we add this, then the agent now has the ability to send emails. And in the initial set of instructions, we asked it to look for an action that is called send an email. By default, the name it gives is a generic name, Office 365 Outlook, send an email V2, and we can shorten that to just send an email, which is the action that we had put in the instructions, so that it makes sure it's looking for the correct action. Now our bot has got its description, it's got instructions, it's got its backend knowledge base. It now has the ability to send emails, and the last piece is the trigger. A trigger is what kicks off the action to be able to start the process. And if we go ahead and add a trigger, there's several ways of triggering the email. So it can recur after let's say 30 minutes, or when an item is created. In our particular case, we want when an email comes into the mailbox, then it's processed. And this is the action we're going to select when a new email arrives. That action will continuously monitor the mailbox to ensure when a new email arrives that it triggers this particular action. If we want to narrow down the action, then we can do it over here. So for example, if we wanted to say it's only emails that come to Bob. So it's going to monitor only Bob's mailbox, and we could also narrow it down by adding a subject filter. So if let's say we tell customers that to be able to return an item, we want the email to have a subject of request to return, then we can say emails coming to Bob with a subject that says request to return in the subject. And those are the only emails that are going to be processed. Any other emails in that mailbox will not be processed. We can go ahead and create that trigger. And now that trigger is done, and we can test the trigger separately from the whole agent process flow. But the first thing I wanted to check, if we go back to our knowledge and we refresh this to see if our knowledge source has been updated, it looks like that is still updating. Still adding the knowledge. We could, hopefully this should finish relatively soon, and we can test that initial section where it's using just the knowledge. In this particular instance, we have added quite a bit. We have added not only knowledge, but we have added an action and a trigger. But if let's say you wanted to make a simpler agent or a different type of agent that is more of a chat interface, then you could get that done by just adding the description, the instructions, and the knowledge. Once you have the knowledge, then you're able to use it like a bot that is grounded on this particular set of data, which would be typical in scenarios. Let's say salespeople want to reference the RFP prior documentation to be able to get information off that, or there's collateral that marketing has, and they want to be able to to be able to use that as the base knowledge for getting information. With just these two steps where you create a description, instruction, and adding knowledge, you now have a bot that has got that functionality. In this particular example, we wanted to kind of go past just creating that traditional chat interface, and we wanted to create something that is fully automated end-to-end, does not need any human intervention. And once we create it, it will just be running in the background, performing its task. If we take a look at the knowledge, okay, that looks good. It's now ready, and the knowledge is now actively being used as part of its knowledge source. So if we grab the same question and refresh the test to test the agent, and if we ask it this same question, it brings us back to the activity map, and we can see a session has started. It's searching the knowledge, and it has found a response from the customer service policy. And it responds saying, based on our return policy, goods must be purchased within the last 14 days to be eligible for return. Therefore, an item purchased 30 days ago would not be eligible, which is what we were expecting. Prior to that, it was giving us a 30-day return policy, which it was getting off its generic knowledge base, but now it's grounded in our data, and it's now responding with a correct response. The next thing we can do is to ensure that our flow is working correctly before we publish the agent. We can test that the flow where the email comes into the mailbox is arriving and it's being processed correctly. So I can go ahead and hit test trigger. And what I'll have to do is I'll have to send an email from my mailbox to Bob, which is off the screen right now, but let me quickly send that email to Bob. I bought a pair of trousers 30 days ago. Can I return them? Regards, Michael. So I've gone ahead and sent that email out. Maybe what I can do is I can sign in as Bob on this side, so that you're able to see the experience from Bob's end, where the automated mailbox, which is the mailbox that is going to be monitored, should be able to see, yeah, that's my email that has come in into Bob's mailbox, and it's got that particular subject, request to return, which is what the filter is looking for. And I say I bought a pair of trousers 30 days ago, can I return them? And if you look at the test, then it should have triggered, and we can see that that email triggered at 2:38, which is the correct time. And if we go ahead and start working through the test to make sure that the trigger is processing correctly, we see that it now goes to the knowledge base to be able to see if it can answer that question and use the knowledge from our customer service policy to be able to respond. It eventually goes ahead and provides a response, or is processing a response. And if I take a look at my mailbox, which you can't see, I have received a response. So if I sign onto onto my mailbox here so that you're able to see it. I have all the emails from Bob coming into this particular mailbox, and this is the mailbox, the email that has just come in at 2:39. And there is the response, the automated response. So it says, thank you for reaching out to us. Based on our return policy, goods must be purchased within 14 days to be eligible for return, and therefore an item purchased 30 days ago would not be eligible. If you have further questions, feel free to call the customer service department at that number. Best regards. So it's signing off as we had told it to. It's giving us that information from the set of instructions, and it's pulling the 14 days from the knowledge base. And now our agent is we have tested the knowledge which we tested in that particular question. We have tested that the trigger is working correctly, and now our agent is ready to go live. So to be able to publish it out so that it can now start running automated, you can go ahead and click on the publish setting, and it starts publishing that. And it takes a while. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes to publish. Sometimes it takes a bit longer. But we can give it some time to be able to complete the publish so that we can see that test from end to end. In the interim, if there are any questions that anybody has, let me take a look at the Q&A and see if any questions have come in. There's a Q&A section, and you can ask any of the questions there. If there are no questions, then I can take a look at some of these other pieces in detail. So for example, for the knowledge, in our particular instance, what we did is we just uploaded a file and we dragged and dropped it. But there's more, there's quite a number of different options for adding knowledge. You can get the agent to point to a particular website, and let's say you already have done a lot of the work to do, let's say, a Q&A, and you have that on your website. Then you can point it to the website, and that's what it's going to use as its real-time information. If you have documents in SharePoint, then this would be ideal for, let's say, an internal agent, where you can point it to your marketing material or your sales material, like we talked about, maybe prior RFPs or other documents that you want to be the knowledge source of the agent. And if you point it to SharePoint, this becomes an active update. So if you update the documents in SharePoint, then that is going to be reflected in the agent, and that new knowledge will be used as you update your documents in SharePoint. But if you want something to be static, then you can either put it in a folder where it's not going to be changed, or you can upload the files like we did. Another option is Database, which helps you leverage structured data and tables as your knowledge source. And Database can be very useful. It's similar to a database, and you can use structured data as your primary data source. In terms of actions, I think we had gone through some of the actions, but there's quite a number of different actions that you can provide your agent. So it can do things like update your Excel. It can run scripts on Excel. There's quite a number of different actions that you can run, and depending on the task, then it can run quite a number of different actions. In terms of triggers, you have triggers that so for example, planner, you can say when a particular action of items happens in Planner, then you kick off a task. So for example, you could have a project workflow and you want to let's say engage a new team once a particular milestone has been completed, and you could automate that so that when that task is marked as completed, then that triggers the agent and it will email the next team that is supposed to get involved in Planner. There's quite a number of different triggers, and they continue to add them as the product gets more mature. So it looks like we have this published. It's showing us published. If I take a look at the agent on the front, it also shows when it was last published. So it shows published 4 minutes ago, which now means I should be able to run an end-to-end workflow without any human intervention. Excuse me. If you take a look at this activity tab, this shows the number of runs that this agent has currently gone through. So right now, excuse me. We can go ahead and try an end-to-end run. So from my mailbox, I'll go ahead and create an email going out to Bob with our subject request to return. Say hi, I bought a toy from your store 30 days ago, and the packaging has been opened. Can I return it? Okay, so go ahead and send that. We should see that email coming in to Bob, which is that one right there. If I take a look at the Copilot status, if I refresh, there is the task coming in. You can see it hit the knowledge source and it has sent an email. So if I go back to my mailbox, not sure why it sent it out twice, but there is our email. So thank you for reaching out to us. Unfortunately, items bought 30 days ago with opened packaging are not eligible for return. Our return policy states that goods must be purchased within the last 14 days and must be in their original packaging. If you have any further questions, feel free to call our customer service department at that number. Best regards, customer service agent. So in essence, that has run completely autonomously without me having to do anything. Bob sent an email out to, I sent an email out to what would be the customer service agent, who is Bob. And I'm asking Bob about the returns, but Bob could be anything. It could be the customer service mailbox. And it has gone to the background. It has been processed using our workflow. It has checked that knowledge and got a response from the knowledge. It has used the tool that we gave it to be able to send an email, and it has sent an email and a response back without any intervention from myself. And now I can have this agent running in the background, and I know that anytime emails come in, coming into Bob, then around customer returns, they're going to be automatically processed. So I can take a look at the questions to see if there are any questions. All right, so there's a question. Can you use this with M-Pesa to track my expenses? That's a good question. Currently, Microsoft have got a number of offerings in terms of creating agents. They have this is what they call the no-code solution, where we have completely created an agent without writing a single line of code. As you can imagine, to be able to do this, you have the same ability to be able to do this same logic in code, but when you're writing code, it gives you the flexibility and capability to be able to have several integration points. So at this point where you're adding knowledge in code, then you could use and leverage third-party knowledge sources or APIs to be able to use that as your internal knowledge. So if you are writing this in code, then you could go out and to the M-Pesa API and add that as your knowledge source and provide it to the agent. But in the no-code solution, currently these are the only options that you have. Microsoft are continuing to add third-party integrations. So, for example, there's Salesforce, there's ServiceNow, there's Zendesk, and hopefully one day M-Pesa will light up over here. But currently in the no-code solution, it's not possible. But in the pro-code solution, you can go ahead and write a module that interfaces with M-Pesa and create an agent that is capable of interfacing with your M-Pesa. Hopefully that answered the question. Let me take a look and see if there's another question. If I publish an agent, can it be used by others or only by myself? Is there a fee charged to use it? Yeah, so the whole point of publishing the agent is so that other people are able to use it. In this particular instance, what we were making was a fully automated service. But if and the whole point of the automated agent is so that it doesn't have any human interaction. But if so as we talked about, the Copilot has got several options, and one of them is on the web. So this is what the Copilot experience looks like on the web, and you have your chat interface, and on this left-hand side, you have your possible agents over here. So if we had published it out, then I can go ahead and click get an agent and add that to one of my agents. So let's say, for example, I had just created a chat type interface that uses just the knowledge base, and I didn't add the full automation. Then I could interface it from here, and I could go ahead and talk to that agent and ask it questions around customer service. I think the second part of the question was around the fee to use it. There's like we saw in the slides, there's a couple of options that Microsoft have. So they have the free tier where you're able to build the agent, and then it's charged on a consumption basis. So it's obviously not free for Microsoft to be running this AI, but since they don't want to charge you for building the agent, then you can go ahead and build the agent and publish it. And it's only when people start using it, depending on how much of this the AI that has been used, that's what you're going to be paying for. So you'll just be paying for consumption on a metered basis. The second option, if you want the full Copilot experience, including not just on the web desktop, but including on the whole Office application, then there's a standard $30 per user per month that is payable for that particular service. And depending on your for bigger customers who have got enterprise agreements, then there's flexibility in pricing. But off-the-shelf pricing is $30 per user per month to get the standard Copilot. I really wanted to cover. So I wanted to thank everyone once again for joining this session. It has been hopefully it has given you a bit of insight on how to get started with Copilot agents. And the no-code solution gives you the ability to build agents from scratch in a hopefully simple manner and a logical manner, where you can build your agents, give it knowledge, and you can modify it as you go on. But the whole idea is to be able to build a whole set of different agents that help you with your day-to-day tasks. So you shouldn't try to create one big agent that does everything. You should kind of try and take a look at the pieces or the different tasks that you perform during the day. And you can have one agent that, let's say, responds to a particular customer, one agent that helps you with your project planning, one agent that helps you with a separate task. And what you end up with is a slew of several agents that end up being very helpful during your workday, because it's almost like you have all these different pieces of your work which you have delegated out to the agents, and hopefully it helps you focus on your core work. So we hope to have another session soon as Build AI Kenya. And we shall post it on socials, on Instagram, on Facebook and Twitter when we're going to have our next session. But we'll also continuously post updates on AI and any trends that are happening. And we hope to see you on the next session. Thank you very much and have a nice day. All right. Bye-bye.